Greetings, my friends, and welcome to another episode of The World According to Waz. It's now Tuesday, February 28th, 2023, the last day of February, and I hope you all are doing well. Today is Election Day in Chicago. Our favorite mayor, Lori Lightfoot, is running for re-election. And as of yesterday, she was polling third in the race, and that's definitely a good thing. Chicago has to be the least safe big city in the country, and if not, it's up there. I mean, and let's get real. If you're black and you happen to live in the inner city of Chicago, you're 1,000 times more likely to be shot by another black citizen who lives near you than you are to be shot by a cop. And most likely the person you'll get shot by is a black male, say between the ages of 17 and 30. And it's a sad reality. In major cities around the country, inner cities, Chicago is as bad as any of them. People just walking out their front door being shot at. And the claim has always been, police violence and police shootings. And whenever one of these happens unjustly, of course, it's a horrible thing. But it's not the case that most blacks are being shot by cops. They're being shot by other blacks. And apparently pointing this out, this obvious fact, just pointing this out makes me a racist. But then again, I'm a middle-aged white guy, so not only am I racist, I'm also sexist and a homophobe and transphobic, and you know the drill. In another story you might have heard about from the Wall Street Journal was reporting that the origin of COVID-19 is most likely due to a lab leak, according to the Department of Energy. And this is what a lot of people have been maintaining since the beginning, that it was a lab leak in China. And the Department of Energy now has come out and stated this. Now, what's really weird is, why is the Department of Energy coming out and saying this? I mean, the Department of Energy, it doesn't make much sense. It's like the military coming out and saying it. To me, you would think you would hear this from the CDC or what have you. But of course, we know the CDC and Fauci, he's never going to admit that he funded this gain-of-function research and that it happened to be a lab leak in China. Now, the White House, of course, still maintains that there's no consensus on how COVID began. Well, actually, I take that back. They're not still maintaining that there's no consensus. Before, they said there was a consensus. And the reason why there was a consensus is because everybody who disagreed with them, all the experts who disagreed with them on the origins of COVID, were basically shunned out of polite society. They were locked out of their accounts on Twitter and different social media platforms simply for going against the narrative. But this notion of being an actual consensus, I mean, there's really never a consensus on anything, meaning everybody agrees on anything, really, for the most part. So to come out and state that there's no consensus on the origins of COVID is kind of absurd. But I think we all pretty much know that it came from China, and it was most likely due to a lab leak. I'd like to finish up with a story from a Christian school that forfeited a playoff game against a team that had a trans student participating. And this Christian school that forfeited their game, saying that it jeopardized fairness in this game. We got a story here from Fox News from yesterday, saying how the Christian school forfeited their game because the opposing team had a trans student. And they said that males competing in women's sports sets a bad precedent. And from the story, it says a Vermont Christian school forfeited to the opposing team in a state championship tournament after it was revealed that a transgender student was on the team's roster. Mid-Vermont Christian School basketball team, the Eagles, were set to play against the Long Trail Mountain Lions in the fourth game of playoffs last Tuesday before the Christian school dropped out of the game and lost its place in the tournament. Head of the school, Vicky Fogg, argued that it was unfair and unsafe for high school girls to play against a biological male on the opposing team. Well, that goes without saying. I mean, there's a reason why men and women are separated in terms of sports. And it's not sexist to come out and state the obvious. Your average male is bigger, stronger, and faster than your average female. That's just the way God made us. It's not sexist to state an obvious fact like that. I mean, if you got a problem with that, talk to God. Men and women are different. This is obvious. There are differences between the two genders. And again, there's two genders. There's not 47 or 89 or however many they say there are. There's male and female. And men who suddenly claim that they're women participating in women's sports is obviously not fair. And the story also goes on to say how the actual female students feel uncomfortable when they have a male, a transgender female, male, what have you, in the locker room with them. And for good reason. I mean, you're a 15-year-old girl. You're going to be comfortable with some guy in there taking off his clothes and seeing you naked or what have you, changing your clothes. You know, that's a reason why we have separate bathrooms. There's a reason why we have separate bathrooms. You don't mix men and women together where they're, half naked or pulling down their pants, because we know it's going to often lead to other things. And women, real women, feel uncomfortable about this. And it's understandable. Women don't want to be going to the bathroom when you got a bunch of guys around. But getting back to this Christian school that forfeited the game, I say good on them. We've got to fight back on this. We can't just, they've got the swimming. We remember the swimming team where this guy who's now says he's a woman won the swimming championship, whatever. That's obviously unfair. Where's this going to end? We had transgender people in the Olympics. And what's interesting, too, is it's not about fairness, if you think about it. They claim it's about fairness, but it's not, because how many women who are now men, because of the transgender thing, want to participate in men's sports? You never see that, do you? Well, why is that? Because they're participating against guys. And women participating against guys are going to win 99.9% of the time in sports. That's just the way it is. So I'm going to leave you with that, my friends. I hope you have a great Tuesday evening. And it's nice and sunny here in Michigan today. We had a snow and ice going on last few days, and it's melting today. Made things slippery last night on the driveways and the roads, but things are warming up a bit. It's supposed to get about 50 degrees here in the Metro Detroit area tomorrow, but rainy. So, it is in Michigan, anything can happen. You can go from 80 degrees to 30 degrees in the same week. It's not unusual for us. And I hope things are good where you are. And I'll talk to you again soon.